Yeah, thanks, Paul. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Happy Columbus Day. Appreciate you working on the holiday. Hey, players of the week from last week. Clayton Thorson was our offensive player of the week. I thought he was just outstanding. Just see him getting stronger and stronger. Big playmaker was Flynn Nagel. Double-digit receptions. Again, I think playing the best football of his career. Montre Hardage was our defensive player of the week, and Joe Gaziano, our big playmaker. Joe was very active, and I thought Montre, played a really solid game. Jake Collins was our special teams player of the week. I think we're playing pretty solid in that phase for the most part. I think some guys are really improving. Jack Tremonti on offense, Eku Leota, and Grayson Mann on special teams were our practice players of the week. So I appreciate the effort those guys are putting in. Excited to welcome back the 08 Alamo Bowl team. And C.J. Boucher will be our honorary captain, so I'll be excited to see him. Still holds the single-season passing record, 3,600 and change. He's set in 07. He's a three-time academic All-Big Ten performer in 2007. Honorable mention All-Big Ten. He's a terrific young man. Was a great leader and did a great job during his time here, and now obviously successful in the real world. So very proud of him and looking forward to welcoming him and about 70 of his teammates and managers and athletic trainers back for a great celebration here on homecoming weekend. Got a big test ahead of us. Number one, how do we handle success? We didn't do it very well the last time it happened. Number two, I think we're playing a team that's much improved. You watch the way that Nebraska has performed since the Michigan game, and especially last week in Madison, was a very impressive performance. I think Adriene Martinez is going to be, and already is, but is going to be an outstanding football player. But he's a magician right now. I think he makes a lot of things happen. He's very talented with his arm. He's very, obviously, athletic and makes a lot of guys miss, and very impressive to watch. And then Spielman and Morgan on the outside, as we watch the tape, I think this is as fast as a group as we've seen yet this season. Collectively from a skill set, and if you include Washington and Ozigbo, it's the same type of athleticism and speed. So defense is going to have its hands full, again, seeing another double eagle team like we've seen in the past with their defense. And I thought they gave Wisconsin a lot of issues. They just ran out of gas a little bit there in the second half defensively. But very impressed with the job that Scott and his staff are doing, obviously changing a culture, and you can see that this team has improved every week. And the credit goes to their guys and to their staff. So we'll have our hands full, but hopefully our guys will handle the success well and prepare the right way this week. So with that, how about some questions, please?
Went for a good amount of deep passes in that game against Michigan State, hit on at least those 3 for touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you specifically saw from Michigan State that left it open over the top, or is that something that you're going to see more of in the offense as we continue here?
Moving forward, we're just going to do what we can to find a way to make big plays, and it's based on coverage concept and matchups and whether or not we can protect it. We've been trying to find creative ways to have explosive plays. For a handful of games they work and a handful of games they haven't worked. So hopefully we can continue to be successful with it.
Has Vault officially surpassed Moten on the depth chart, and what has gone into that decision?
I would say that we're going to be a running back by committee until someone evolves to take over the reins and we have positive rushing yards. So that's what went into that decision.
Moten with 0 carries last week. Was that game plan? Was that him banged up?
No banged up. And no game plan. It's just the way the ebb and the flow of the game went. We're going to play as many guys as we have available, and just the way the plays were. I think he played in 20 to 25 plays in the game. So.
You mentioned Adriene Martinez. How much stress does he put on a defense as a guy that can make plays, arms and feet? And does he remind you of anybody?
Well, we've seen now. I mean, you look at who we've seen from David in the opener to Lewerke last week. Shea's athletic kid, the young man at Akron, and same thing at Duke. Everybody that we've played has been athletic. I mean, there hasn't been a non-athletic quarterback that we've seen yet. Anytime you've got a guy that, when you've got great coverage, can become the human check down, so to speak, and go make a play with his feet, makes it really challenging to defend. You got to be rush lane sound. You got to make sure that you've got really sound integrity into what you're doing coverage-wise, and then you got to go capture him if he decides to scramble. So I thought we did a better job against Lewerke on Saturday, but we need to continue to improve there. There's no doubt about that.
Fitz, can you talk about Cameron Green and how he keeps on elevating himself?
Yeah, I think Cam's really playing at a high level right now. We missed him a couple weeks ago, with the tough deal, and I think he's responded really well from it. And then he got banged up, and again responded again. So I just think it shows his maturity. I think he's playing with a lot of confidence. I think Clayton's got a lot of confidence in him, and that position. You go back over my time, it's been a really important position in our offense, and he's just the next guy. We've got. Our last two guys bouncing around the NFL right now. So really proud of the way Cam's playing and really proud of the way he's working.
How do you think you guys – do you guys have a plan for now handling success better? What are you trying to get through to the guys this week so that doesn't happen again?
Yeah, well, I don't think it has anything to do other than the fact that I think we've got a lot of young guys that don't understand necessarily how hard it is to win every week. And every week is its own season, and that's our job as coaches to continue to help those guys come along, and understand that you have to earn success, and they've practiced hard. I haven't had an issue with their effort level in practice, but it's been more our execution on game day that's hurt us, and just the sense of urgency, the attention to detail. The making of plays when we make adjustments to understand the why, and we got to do a better job of explaining that, obviously, as coaches with young guys, and just getting them to play fast and execute. It's funny. I was watching some things last night. It sounds like a recurring theme in our game. It's not unique to us. I heard it all over NFL, commentary yesterday as I was looking at it. Same thing when I watched some games. It's not necessarily always who you play; it's how you play. And we just got to work. We're still not as consistent as we need to be, and that's what we're working on.
Did Montre come back in the game, and did he just have cramps?
I don't know his exact injury. I probably wouldn't share it either, honestly. Full disclosure, transparency. But yeah, he came back in. Yep.
Okay, so we should believe he's fine.
I believe he is.
Okay. How's Nate Hall? Is
Great.
he? You think we might see him this week?
I hope so.
Okay. What did Charlie tell you when he came off about missing that field goal? And where's the state of your kicking game now?
I didn't allow him to say anything to me. I told him that he needs to get his mind right and get ready to go kick a game winner, that I believed in him. He said okay. That was our exchange.
I think he maybe told the Daily or another publication had an injury before. Is he healthy?
I don't know. Ask him. He's telling his team, classmates, they're scoops. I don't know.
Do you have confidence in it now? Do you feel like he can?
Yeah, if he's healthy, sure.
If he's healthy.
What's the status on Greg Newsome? How's he doing health-wise?
Doing awesome.
And guys like Cam Ruiz, we hadn't seen a lot of him before. How did he step up this past week?
I think, well, number one, I think Cameron is playing outstanding in the kicking game. And that to me is a sign of a guy who's got a great attitude and a lot of want to. I've been really impressed with him. And his number got called. He was the next guy up, and I thought he really stepped up well. You can never have enough corners. You can never have enough, especially here. So I'm really proud of him. And, I think he's going to continue to work. I would be shocked if he didn't.
It's on Saturday, because of what has happened in the season. Do you bring up the elephant in the room, or do you just assume that they know to go out and finish the game?
Yeah, back-to-back weeks I haven't had to bring it up. The guys bring it up before I do, the older players. And, I think from a standpoint of, especially in Big Ten play, teams are going to respond. They're well coached. There's great talent. There's a lot of pride in every school and with every program. And, we knew both teams, Michigan and Michigan State, would respond. And, we can't turn the ball over. we just can't do that. I think we got a penalty that hurt us on the first drive when we were moving the ball. So, we've got to eliminate those self-inflicted wounds there in the third quarter. But I really like the way our offense responded there at the end. And we finally were able to get a little bit of running going in the fourth quarter, get some angles and get some guys up front to finish some blocks. And, I thought we were able to finish it the way we need to, especially on a road in a hostile environment against a really, really good football team.
McGowan had a big day against Michigan State with the 77-yard catch. What have you seen from him this year that you've liked?
Again, I'll start the same way I did with Cam. I think he's playing really well in the kicking game. He's a guy that starts for us on all four special teams. Young player that played last year but, wasn't a starter and is still learning and growing in his craft. But I've been very impressed with Kyrick. I think it starts with the way that he works. He had an increased role on Saturday, and we were going to take him down off a couple special teams, and he lobbied Jeff Jenick not to let that happen. So, and I thought he played really well. So I'm very proud of him.
50 Big Ten wins. What does that mean to you?
And what are you talking about?
Well, it says here that you earned your 50th career Big Ten victory.
Oh. Thanks. I appreciate it. Let's throw a party. It's a good question. On to the next. Expect to be here for a while, so I wish I would have got to 50 quicker. How's that?
That's Chris Bergen. What did you like about him that you offered him the preferred walk-on status, and what has allowed him to jump from that to being the guy who takes the place of a all-conference performer?
Yeah, well, first of all, his older brother paved the way for him a little bit, and Joe. That's when we first got to know Chris, and Joe's been playing great in the kicking game, and is really, I think, one of the, I think the core guys in our locker room. And I think Chris has just followed in those footsteps, and he's his own guy. I think it was a big game for both those guys, with their dad being a state alum. And, I think for Chris to step up the way he did, I'm not surprised. He works really hard. And he earned that opportunity, and I think he took advantage of it. So I'm not surprised that he played pretty consistent at all.
I thought that Jefferson catch was incredible, especially for a young guy.
Mm-hmm.
What about that play, and were you even surprised he was able to
Yeah, it was a great play. I mean, he's a great player. We saw that from him in high school when he was down at St. Pius. Again, I think an under-recruited guy, which sounds good to me. Earlier in the game, he was getting open, and I think Clayton came to the realization that he's going to win his one-on-one matchup, and he's now back-to-back weeks made some pretty big plays. So very encouraging for a young player to see him step up like that to make those explosive plays.
I remember, was he targeted much after that? Was there one or two plays?
You mean as far as the throws?
Yeah, was he?
Yeah, I mean he's part of concepts. Now whether or not Clayton decides to go to him, maybe there were a couple times that he could have, but for the most part, I think Clayton. The interception falls on him, but that's not him, right? In the second half, I thought he played really clean. I really did. I would have negotiated a couple of the nakeds, but the kid's 6'8", right. So tough.
You talking about Clayton playing clean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So the one to Drake. Drake should catch that one. Or
I hit him right in between the eyes.
Did hit him in the
You ever
helmet,
seen Willie Mays Hayes? Right.
A couple times.
Yeah. You guys don't even know what I'm talking about, do you? Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's okay. Playoffs, baseball. Yeah. Netflix. It'll be worth your time. All right.
The first interception, though, that was a poor decision. And
he got hit. The route was about to come open, and right when he's letting go of the ball, he got hit, which made the ball sputter. Wouldn't have mattered because we got PI on the call, and we got to be better there. You,
Drake Anderson questions. So I know about the hip injuries, sophomore, junior year. Was he always on your radar because of Damian?
Yeah.
And when you decided to pull the trigger, how did that happen? And talk about his first game as well.
Yeah, obviously known the family for a long time, and he was on our radar screen. We wanted to see his senior video, and obviously it was explosive, and to see him overcome those injuries, pretty darn impressive for a young guy. And listen, we're looking for a spark. We're trying to find a way to run the football, and we got to coach it better. We got to block it better, and we got to run it where they're not. We're going to continue to try to find ways to do it. I thought Drake has practiced well. Lou and I had a conversation about him last week. We're also conscious of using the redshirt rule, and trying to maximize using all of our roster to the advantage of the team now, and then also for the long term for the guys individually. So all those things are kind of a puzzle, and we'll see how that puzzle continues to evolve.
Drake has now played in 2 games.
1.
Oh, he didn't get any in the game before.
No. No.
What about his version, Steve?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, he's got pretty good bloodlines. His last name's not Fitzgerald. He can run.
Good to go now, Teddy? Am I okay to go now?
Teddy to Teddy?
Okay. Coach, it seemed like to avoid pressure in the pocket, there was some rollouts, some spread outs.
Yep.
I don't know if there was a naked here or there. How did that look now that you had a chance to look at the film?
Well, first of all, happy 21st birthday. Yeah, you bet, absolutely. I think it's looked the whole year. I think when we've gotten out of our breaks on the routes, we've had some chances to make some plays. Clayton had to negotiate some things a little bit that made the concept a little challenging to get the ball to Cameron on a few. And then I thought Clayton's timing and ball placement on a couple other ones were spectacular. There was one to Flynn on our boundary it's an NFL throw. Moving to your left, throwing before the ball, guy's out of his break, putting it on the money. Clayton's just continuing to get stronger, and it shows. It just shows. And so we just got to keep trying to find ways to move the ball and get the ball in playmakers' hands. And now as the season's moving along, guys are starting to kind of solidify who they are, if that makes sense, good and bad. And hopefully we'll continue to adjust appropriately in all 3 phases.
So 5 years ago, this homecoming was the college game day game against Ohio State. Undoubtedly a big day for the trajectory of this program. And after that game, you said that you guys were knocking on the door, but you just had to keep trying to knock it down.
Yep.
Kind of a big picture question here, but in the past 5 years, how have you guys continued to knock that down?
My hand's pretty sore. We're still knocking. What have we been close? 2 out of 5 years of winning a divisional crown. Close isn't good enough. So, I think it has a lot to do with us and not handling the controllables when we've had opportunities to get it done. But then not having a pity party and going to win some bowl championships and leaving those seniors as champions walking off the field is spectacular. It hasn't happened around here a lot, and especially for those senior classes that were able to get that done. I'm really, really proud of those guys, because we may not have had the top goal achieved of winning the West Division, but they didn't pout, they didn't complain. They just kept on trucking along and got us some bowl championships. But I think again our program I think is a consistent winner. I think we're building to where we want to become. Since I got here in 1992 when we were number 14. Well, take it back 10 by a long shot. We're a long way away from number 9 to where now I think we're pretty close to the middle of the road overall over my time. I think the credit goes to our guys and our staff, and we've just got to keep moving forward, and that's what we're working our tails off to do. And I think that's overall as an entire program. I think that's not only on the field. I think that's with marketing. I think that's with fan support. I think it's with initiatives to engage the community, to get them more involved, get our students more involved. So, I'm really thankful for our season ticket sales force. When I started as the head coach, we didn't even have one. that's another talk for another time. But we've come a long way, and we're not satisfied by any stretch of the imagination. And I don't think I'll ever be satisfied, to be quite honest with you. I think when they tell me to trade in my whistle, I'll just ask for some seats and say thanks for the opportunity. But miles to go before we rest.
Back on that 2013 game, what do you remember about the atmosphere from that? How big of a moment was it for the program at the time?
Yeah, I wish our students partied like that every game. To be honest with you, I don't know why you don't. You only get 4 years to be in college, and then after that, you get like a condo, rent, mortgage, family. So, if it were me, knowing what I know at 43, I would party my rear end off every Saturday because you can. But that's just me. So I try to have fun every Saturday, regardless of if we're at home or on the road in the fall. And I hope our students come out to party for homecoming.
Yeah, you mentioned home and road there. The home team is 1-6 in this series, and the one win was a fluke in 2013 there in Nebraska. What do you make of that? Is that pretty strange in your eyes? And you guys have had so much success recently on the road. Do you notice a difference in your team? Is that something you look at, or is it just a fluky thing?
Let's start with the first part of the question. In this series, I think most of these games have been awesome. Now, we haven't won them all, right? And that some sting a little bit more. You kind of feel like Tommy Boy, that mark right here a little bit. But I'll tell you what, since we've played Nebraska, there has been no better fan base to get to know than theirs. I mean, it is spectacular. To me, it is up there with the top in the country, from the hospitality, the way they treat our fans when they go out to Lincoln, the way they treat our players and our staff. It's almost like the worst Jedi mind trick you're ever going to go through, like the nicest people in the world to kind of calm you down. And then you go compete against a historic team, and they've been battles. They've been battles, and again, we haven't won them all, but I think there's just a large level of mutual respect between both programs. It was like last week, with State. After the game, I said to Mark, we got to quit doing this to each other. I mean, we know each other well, and the players know each other well, and I think there's just a high level of respect, and the games are usually played really clean, and I think they usually go down to the wire, which for fans, it's got to be awesome. I mean, I would think as an experience standpoint. I think on the road, compared to home, I definitely think it helps when we have our students. There's no doubt about that. That's not an excuse. It's a reality with the quarter system. So we got to play better early to get our fans that are there excited. But I'd challenge them too. I mean, have a party, have fun, enjoy the heck out of it. You're paying to be there. Just enjoy it. At a certain point, I'm going to become a fan. I've done it a couple times. It's pretty cool. Like, college football thing's pretty neat. You mean you've gone to games as a kid? Yeah, like a couple. Like 97. Like, that was pretty cool. Like, I enjoyed myself. Yeah, after I graduated. That was pretty cool. I went to a couple bowl games. I went to the the whatchamacallit bowl game out in Phoenix. Fiesta Bowl with the Hall of Fame. That was really cool. Because I had neither team. I didn't care who won, so. Yeah, I like having fun. I mean, so I have no problem with it. What'd you say? I like beer. It's going to be a cabin outfit. I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'm a football coach. I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah, I know bad, cheesy 80s and 90s movies, but it's like I told the squad today, it's really hard to win Big Ten football games, and we've got to find a way to get consistent. This team. We've had very consistent teams in the past, and some of the guys that are sitting where you guys are sitting right now have been a part of those teams, and they know the blueprint to get that done. They've got to bring along their younger teammates to help them understand just how hard that is. Because everybody in this league is really well coached. Everybody's got really good talent. Everybody's got rabid fan support. And you got to find a way to get yourself prepared, but then you got to go make it happen in that 3.5 hour window. And hopefully we'll just continue to get these guys more and more consistent. That's the goal, so we can find a way to win.
Thanks, Coach.
You got one more, Teddy?
Do you have much of a connection with Scott Frost?
Yeah, I've gotten to know Scott well. Again, I'm our AFCA trustee. So anytime there's a coaching change in the league, first thing I do is I try to track down the cell and reach out to him and welcome him to the Big Ten, and then reach out if there's anything you need. Hey, what's this meeting all about? Should I be there early? Nonsense like that, just logistical stuff. But then, obviously we're contemporaries, and have followed him closely and watched the success that he's had. And obviously Coach of the Year last year, you tip your hat to the success he had building that program down there. And so he's got a blueprint for what he's going to do, and you can see it already. You can see the blueprint on the field, but even more so when you do the research, getting ready to play a team that you haven't played before. I've got so much respect for him in the program blueprint that he has and the way that he's done it. And now going back to his alma mater, I know how that feels. And there's just something a little bit more when you're at your alma mater. It just means more. It means more when you win. It hurts more when you don't win. I'm probably like him. You're going to have a hard time finding a more competitive person for our schools than probably both of us. I don't care if it's our fencing team going against somebody or us or anybody else of our other 18 sports. I mean, I just think it just means more. And I think with that comes high expectations that you have for yourself. And he took them to where I think we all want to be. He did that as a player. We were really close here, but we didn't get to where they got. And so I think as a competitor, you know what it takes. And I think he's going to will that there. I think he's got a great blueprint. He's got an outstanding staff. You can see their young talent that they've recruited, how they've meshed it with their older guys that a year ago and 2 years ago that we played against, that made plays against us in all three phases. So we know what we're getting into, and hopefully we'll prepare. But I've got a ton of respect for Scott. I had a ton of respect for him when I was a player. And now to see the career that he's had is it's been really spectacular to watch. All right, thank you all. Have a great day. Go Cats.